My encounters with arts. First is dance performance. One of my most striking encounters with arts was the final performance I saw on television, the America's Got Talent champion, the Mayas' final performance. They were the grand champions because of their unique dance that they did. It was not just an ordinary dance because every gesture of their hands, the body movement, and dance of their feet goes along with the rhythm of the music like the flow of water. It was very smooth and incredibly beautiful. The way they dance is so amazing, as if their every movement was being danced by the wind along with the sound of the music. That's why I can say that this is an example of art in dancing because it is not a common dance that we usually see on the television. I can honestly say that I felt in love with their performance and it made me captivated by the beauty and uniqueness of their dance performance. I can also say that those moments were my most striking encounter with art because I felt it was so captivating, full of feelings and very entertaining. I felt chills and a sense of excitement, and because of that enchanting moment, I fell in love with art and appreciated it the most. Spoken poetry. Also, one of my striking encounters with art was when I joined spoken poetry at our school under English subject when I was in high school, and the poem I chose was Footprints in the Sand. This Christian poem was narrated to me by my father when we were hit by Typhoon Riming in Legazpi City. What we went through was very severe. We lost almost everything, our residence, clothes, and household items. We had nothing during those times, and I remember then that night we slept next to our broken house, without a roof and a proper bed. At that time, Papa suddenly remembered the poem Footprints on the Sand, where each line of that poem matches what we were going through those times. That's why, after those moments, I have never forgotten that poem. Wherever I go, I carry the message of the poem with me. Later, there was a competition at school that spoke poetry was the poem I chose, and with all my heart, full of emotion, I recited each line of that poem. I felt like I could feel the feelings of the anonymous author of that poem, and I did not expect that I would get such a high score that made me win that contest. Even my English subject teacher at that time was impressed with my performance, and even he was influenced by me to read the poem Footprints in the Sand. If you were an artist, what kind of artist you want to be? If I were to be an artist, I would like to be a writer because I love to write stories that can be an inspiration for other people. I love reading books, especially sad endings, because the story of a book I'm reading is more impressive when it has a sad ending. That's why when I'm not doing something, it's one of my hobbies, and reading books and writing down notes that's striking for me are having great impact, whether it's a love story or about someone else's life or even my life, because in writing, I can freely express all my emotions, imaginations, and inspiration. When the emotions I feel are too much, I immediately write it down on a piece of paper rather than sharing it with other people, even to my close friends or relatives, because I don't feel comfortable sharing my personal issues and feelings with them. So instead of opening up to them, I just prefer to write it on the paper and hide it. This is my simple way to express my personality, what I am, and who I am. In writing, I have the freedom to be me without worrying that I will hear various negative comments or judgments from people around me. That I can freely write what's on my mind without hesitation, and I feel better when I can write down my feelings and what's on my mind. I also have a strange peace and happiness. That's why this is what I only dream of. Someday I can make a book to read and will be loved by all readers because it contains a reflection of my personality. Why art is not nature? Why art is not nature? Because first of all, the arts cannot be formed, or no art will appear if there is no person with a broad imagination, great personality, and above all, with great inspiration to create something, whether it is a painting or crafts or anything that will show the arts. The arts are a product of the vast human imagination. It will not just appear if no one does it. On the contrary, nature has already existed and will continue to exist even we are long gone. Why is art ageless and timeless? Simply because art is a reflection and expression of humanity. Our dreams, passions, struggles, and joys can be expressed, realized, and are purified through art. It has a creative and spiritual aptitude that can have a lasting impact on anyone, regardless of age. The same thoughts and feelings that people had thousands of years ago are still felt today. Furthermore, art is timeless because it contains deep and complex elements. The art form created centuries ago is still valuable because it is still relevant and begets shared emotions. Why does art involve experience? Art involves experience because it is important in all ground, especially the arts, and through experience, we can learn new behaviors and ways of thinking. When these feelings and thoughts are conveyed through sculpture, painting, writing, poetry, song, and dance, they can be effectively expressed. Also, art, even in its simplest form, incorporates culture. It is inseparable from the artist's way of life. It distinguishes culture from all other cultures and defines itself to a degree that no one but the artist can comprehend. Choose one artwork under each given category that you are familiar with. This can be the last artwork that you have come across with or the one that made the most impact to you. Criticize each using the guide questions provided. Category: Movie, Artwork, Titanic. So what is it about? What is it for? The movie is about the 1912 sinking of the RMS Titanic. It stars Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio. The two play characters that are of different social classes. They fall in love after meeting aboard the ship, but it was not good for a rich girl to fall in love with a poor boy in 1912. It is for the author's inspiration came from his fascination with shipwrecks. He felt a love story interspersed with the human loss would be essential to convey the emotional impact of the disaster. What is it made of? The modern scenes on the research vessel were shot on board the academic missile Kildish, which Cameron had used as a base when filming the wreck. Scale models, computer-generated imagery, and a reconstruction of the Titanic built at Baja Studios were used to recreate the sinking. What is its style? This is a big film, so Cameron is able to cram quite a few genres into the story. There's love and romance, of course, since the central plot is the love story between Jack and Rose. Then we have tragedy, since the boat sinks and lots of people die, including Jack. So how good is it? Titanic is the best movie I've seen ever since I was a child. The acting was near perfect. The historical events presented are very believable. This movie kept me engaged for the entirety of the 3-hour and 15-minute movie, which in itself is no easy task. The use of lighting was really nice, and also the special effects were the best I've ever seen. The film's special effects set a new standard in the history of the cinema. Next is novel. Artwork is Pride and Prejudice. So what is it about and what is it for? Pride and Prejudice tells the story of Elizabeth Bennet, a young woman in the 19th century. The Bennet family had 5 daughters to her, and at a time when women could only marry rich men, every girl was pressured to find a wealthy spouse to ensure her family's prosperity. It was done. At its core, Pride and Prejudice is the love story of Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy, who must overcome their prejudice and unite. As the novel progresses, both characters learn to let go of their pride and prejudice so that they can accept each other's personality traits. What is it made of? Pride and Prejudice is a genre novel by Jane Austen in 1830. The novel follows the character development of Elizabeth Bennet, the book's dynamic protagonist. Is its style. The overall style of Pride and Prejudice is sarcastic and amusing. The narrator frequently makes statements that appear to mean one thing but actually mean another. How good is it? Pride and Prejudice novel is a beautiful novel and worth to read because combining romantic irony and comical elements. Jane Austen presents one of her best works as the author of Pride and Prejudice. Her core story focuses on how Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy have to let go of their pride and prejudice in order to be together. Next is category poem. Artwork, Footprints in the Sand. What is it about and what is it for? Footprints, also known as Footprints in the Sand, is a popular allegorical religious poem. There are 2 sets of his footprints in the sand, one of God's and the other of his. The poem Footprints in the Sand is a positive prayer that shows that God is always with us, especially in times of need. Deuteronomy chapter 1 verse 30 to 31. The Lord your God will go before you and fight before your eyes all that he has done for you in Egypt and in the wild. So what is it made of? The poem Footprints in the Sand is an affirmational prayer that shows how God is always with us, especially in times of need. What is its style? Its style is an allegorical religious poem. How good is it? There is nothing as good as the poem Footprints in the Sand for me because it contains the greatness, goodness, and eternal love of God for his servants or for those who follow him. This poem shows that God has never left us despite our difficulties and tribulations, especially in times when we can no longer continue. God is there to lead us and help us until we reach our destination. Next is music and artwork, Lupang Hinirang. What is it about? What is it for? The Philippine national anthem is a product of the revolution and a response to the needs of the revolutionary era that produced it, and the need arose in 1898 when the revolution against Spain entered his second year and the victory of the Philippines was in sight. This song is for teaching us to acknowledge the importance of love and joy in our daily lives. So what is it made of? Its music was composed in 1898 by Julian Felipe, and the lyrics were adapted from the Spanish poem Filipinas, written by Jose Palma in 1899. What is its style? National Anthem is a patriotic musical composition symbolizing and evoking eulogies of the history and traditions of a country or nation. The majority of national anthems are marches or hymns in style. How good is it? Lupang Hinirang song is a very good and motivational song because it embodies and expresses the aspirations, dreams, ideals, longings, commitment, and determination, nationalism and patriotism, sentiment and spirit of the people. Next, category and architectural structure. Artwork, Jose Rizal Monument. What is it about and what is it for? The Rizal Monument is a monument in Rizal Park in Manila, Philippines, built to commemorate the executed Filipino nationalist Jose Rizal. The monument consists of a bronze sculpture of a standing Rizal. On September 28, 1901, the United States-Philippine Commission approved Act No. 243 granting the right to use the public land of Luneta in the city of Manila, where a monument to Filipino patriot Jose Rizal was erected. Writer and poet. The law said the monument not only supports the hero's statue but may also house his remains. What is it made of? The monument consists of a standing bronze sculpture of Rizal with an obelisk set on a stone base within which his remains are interred, holding his two famous novels, El Filibusterismo and No Limitangere. What is its style? The Rizal Monument in the 58-hectare Rizal Park holds a special meaning to Filipinos. Essentially, the monument is a tribute to the martyrdom of a great man who, though wrongly accused, accepted his fate as a glorious opportunity to offer his life for his sad, beloved country, though the privilege was not his alone. So how good is it? The Rizal Monument in the 58-hectare Rizal Park holds a special meaning to Filipinos. Essentially, the monument is a tribute to the martyrdom of a great man who, though wrongly accused, accepted his fate and as a glorious opportunity to offer his life for his sad, beloved country, though the privilege was not his alone. Next, category a piece of clothing, artwork, Filipino traditional dress. What is it about and what is it for? The national costume of the Philippines, the Barret Saya, is an elegant hybrid of Filipino and Spanish clothing styles. The term itself comes from the Tagalog words barot at saya or blouse and skirt is still the basic components of the ensemble. A folk costume, also regional costume, national costume, traditional garment or traditional regalia, expresses an identity through costume which is usually associated with a geographic area or a period of time in history. It can also indicate social, marital, or religious status. What is it made of? It is traditionally made with sheer textiles woven from piña or abaca, although in modern times cheaper materials like organza silk, ramie, or polyester are also used. What is its style? Barong Tagalog combines elements from both the pre-colonial native Filipino and colonial Spanish clothing styles. How good is it? This artwork is very beautiful and very good because it reflects the traditional Filipino women in ancient times. This dress is amazingly made because when you wear it, you will look like a respectable and modest woman. That's why when there is important occasions held in the government are usually worn by VIPs or guests of honors is the Filipino dress.